Hey, welcome back to my Sports Nation channel today about this video. Into this scene enters yet another Game 7. The roar of the stadium crushing pressure. Each pitch feels like a bullet. This was the moment the Los Angeles Dodgers had been chasing for decades. Millions spent stars collected, and fans dreaming about being denied time and time again. But something changed. They didn't simply win a championship. They changed the way the game was played. The Dodgers, behind the glitz of Hollywood and the flash of billion-dollar deals, turned into something much more dangerous. A baseball dynasty built on brains, money, and utter ambition. But empires do not last forever. There lies the rise of the Dodgers, the storm waiting on the other side. The dark years. Now the Dodgers weren't always this good. The 2000s were an era of disappointment, mismanagement, and chaos. Frank McCourt's ownership of the team was a nightmare marked by shady dealings and his own personal mess. The club wandered aimlessly, firing managers once a year, and was totally lacking in identity. With glimpses of brand-name talent in the forms of Sean Green, Eric Gagne, and Matt Kemp, they were hardly ever true contenders. The Dodger fans remained loyal and yet grew immensely frustrated. The team was too big to fail, but too busted to win. The turning point, new ownership, and big promises. Things changed in 2012 when Guggenheim Baseball Management, with Mark Walter and Magic Johnson as front persons, bought the team for upwards of $2 billion, then a record. This was not merely a change of ownership, it was a complete reset. From the onset, the new owners opened the floodgates and threw money around on star players such as Adrian Gonzalez, Carl Crawford, and Hanley Ramirez. The message was plain: the Dodgers were back. It was time to buy back their right to be on top. But success did not arrive overnight. The additional funds only served to increase contracts, clutter the roster, and create a short-term focus for decisions affecting the franchise. Not until Andrew Friedman joined the front office in 2014, the man who had transformed the little-market Tampa Bay Rays into a force, did the real structural change begin. Friedman's master plan. Forging a new kind of super team. Friedman's perspective in the LA organization seemed at times counterintuitive, frugal, and analytical. He didn't want just stars, he wanted value. He pushed highly for player development, scouting, and advanced analytics. Instead of pouring resources into veterans in the twilight of their careers, he ended up funneling them towards great potential candidates, whether they were already stars or just about to make their break into the majors, who could come from anywhere. Minor leagues, waivers, or trades. Depth, redundancy, and flexibility were his principles for building rosters. The Dodgers became known for turning nobodies into contributors. Justin Turner, who was discarded by the Mets, became an all-star. Chris Taylor, an afterthought in Seattle, became a postseason hero. Max Muncy went from being released to revered, and behind all this was a player development machine that turned prospects like Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, and Walker Buehler into stars. Sorrow before glory in 2017, and the sign-stealing scandal. A lot seemed to click in 2017. The Dodgers were really one of the best teams in baseball. A powerful lineup, dominant pitching, and a deep bench. They charged all the way to the World Series and fought down one of the toughest 7-game series ever against the Houston Astros, but they lost. What happened next rocked the sport. Astros fans shared a sigh of victory, but for Dodger fans, it represented angst, anger, and bitterness. In 2019, reports were out that Houston had used an illegal sign-stealing scheme in their 2017 championship run. Dodger fans were furious. Players were devastated. The league punished Houston, but no one got their title back. That year became a scar, a moment of rage and regret, but also a motivator. The Dodgers were fueled like never before. Redemption in strange worlds. The 2020 title. It was in the year 2020 that baseball floundered due to the COVID-19 pandemic. There were many short seasons without the presence of fans in the games. But that did not affect what lay ahead. The Dodgers were so moved that they signed Mookie Betts in a blockbuster deal, immediately apparently committing him to a 12-year, $365 million contract. And then they came through. It took the World Series from the Rays in 6 games. Ironically, that's Friedman's former team. But without a parade, without the full-throated roar of Dodger Stadium, it was the championship. And that was vindication. The Dodgers were back on top after years of coming close. Superteam era. Ohtani, Yamamoto, and a global strategy. After 2020, most clubs would take a deep breath. Not the Dodgers. They kept on course-correcting toward the global marketplace and forward-looking preparation. 2 of the greatest moves in baseball history came next in 2023 and 2024, signing Shohei Ohtani to add to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Ohtani, the arguably greatest two-way player in modern history, picked the Dodgers not merely for the greenbucks, but also for the vision. The kind of organization LA had in terms of business and media and baseball made them just tailor fit. Then again, $700 million worth of deal structured along massive deferrals would prove just how shrewd the front office had become. Yes, another pitching ace from Japan, the last ingredient to spice up the flavor of a rotation with velocity, variety, and intelligence. Also, if Walker Buehler returns from injury to join youngsters like Bobby Miller, the Dodger pitching staff will be able to create dominance for a long time. The system behind the stars. How the Dodgers develop excellence. But it's not just big names that make the Dodgers so lethal, it's the system behind them. They've poured money into analytics, biomechanics, and mental training. Their player development complex is among the most advanced in the league major league standards. Every pitcher learns how to maximize his spin rate and release point. Every hitter analyzes his at-bats like chess. They also have a major league standard in their minor league affiliates. Young players have their introduction into the Dodger way, not merely skills, but mindset, discipline, flexibility, and resilience, which explains why, whenever a star goes down with injury, there is always an understudy ready to step up. But will it endure? The challenge is ahead. Here comes a twist for all the success of the Dodgers. They walk a tightrope. Injuries to pitchers, pressure on stars, and heaps of expectations are fast numbing their hopes. The postseason has always been a gamble. Can a hot spell from an underdog team erode the memory of a 100-win season within an instant? And that is the money aspect. And the Dodgers indeed carry deep pockets and aren't empty ones, but those pockets are proving to be not limitless. Definitely not as heavy now are the luxury tax penalties. Catching up to the field now are rivals. Building very scary teams are Braves, Orioles, and Rangers. Notwithstanding the great loyalty of fans, there are limits for patience. Conclusion. Legacy being written now, not just a baseball team. The model is the Dodgers. They're a corporation, they're a machine. They might just be the most significant franchise of this contemporary era. Dynasties don't just happen, though. They need rebuilding and accountability with a hunger that wouldn't quieten with a trophy. So the question is, will the Dodgers become the Yankees of this century, accumulating titles, breaking records, or will this empire someday face its fate while being crushed under its own weight of greatness? Only time will tell. One thing is sure, baseball world is watching, and for most, if not all, in such shoes called Dodgers fans, this is living in the eye of the storm. Thank you for tuning in. If you've made it this far, leave your favorite Dodgers moment or player of all time in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you never miss a deep dive into the biggest stories in sports. See you next time.